Ready to get started. Madam Clerk, could you please read the roll?
Mr. Boesen?
Here.
Mr. Amos?
Here.
Mr. Morrissey? Mrs. Klein?
Here.
Mr. Feuss?
Here.
Mr. Grieder?
Here.
And Mrs. Juon?
Here.
All right, thank you. If you would please join me in a moment of silence. All right, thank you. This pledge this evening will be led by Mr. Dave Boesen, at-large council member.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended with the two important amendments. The first one being the most important, which is A8. It is not a raise grant, it is a rise grant. So if you make that change. And the second, it is a raise grant? There is such a thing as a raise grant?
Didn't the name change? It was Rise, but it's Raise now? Tiger, okay. Used to be a bunch of things, but it's Raise right now.
I had no idea. Well, strike that amendment, and I've learned something important. Thank you, Noel. And Kelly's going to do the other amendment because it keeps changing.
Okay, I actually have 3 amendments for tonight.
What? Good
Surprise.
grief. Yeah.
On public hearing item number 3, and I apologize to everybody in the audience that we didn't have this put together for you. On public hearing number 3, where it says motion to receive and file and instruct city clerk to read bids and refer to Waste Management Services Department for review, we are going to strike the word to Waste Management Services Department for review, and we are going to insert a resolution awarding the bid. So it will read, and when the time comes, I can read this again. Resolution approving award of bid to Municipal Pipe and Tool Company, LLC of Hudson, Iowa, for the base bid SA 19 SRF $803,304.95. Alternate number 1 SA 19 SRF $74,630.30. Alternate 2, SA 19 SRF, $93,624. Alternate number 3, SA 14, non-SRF, $99,008.60. Alternate number 4, SA 20, non-SRF, $40,251.50. Alternate number 5, SA 17, non-SRF, $17,220. For a total cost of $1,128,039.35, approving the contract bonds and certificate of insurance in conjunction with the FY21 SIP pipelining phase IVA2 project contract number 1043. That one was a mouthful, so I apologize for that. Next amendment is number 11 under resolutions. We're going to strike that resolution. And then number 13, under resolutions, we will strike the phrase, and approving a development agreement.
Can you repeat that, Kelly?
Say that again? Will? Okay, so we will strike and approving a development agreement. And we'll strike the word 24 and insert 48.
Okay, review my motion to approve. I'm sorry.
A question, Kelly. Isn't number 12 tied to number 11?
Noel Anderson, Community Planning Development Director. So the two items for the resolution supporting the application to the Iowa Workforce Housing Tax Credit Program, we are not required to take action on any development agreements tonight, just the resolution of support for them to turn in that application, and then we'll come back to the council with the development agreements.
So it's just submission of.
The submission. Okay, review my motion to approve the agenda as amended and approve the minutes of June 21st, 2021, regular session as proposed.
Second.
The motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. I think Angie is not here for the proclamation for Latino Heritage Day. Do we have someone that's in her as a replacement for her?
Sylvia and I are here,
All right, come on down.
and a special guest.
You guys can come around a little bit further so the. All right. City of Waterloo, Iowa proclamation. Whereas, according to the U.S. Census Bureau data, more than 5% of Waterloo residents identify themselves as being Hispanic or Latino descent. And whereas the City of Waterloo is proud to be home to a broad and diverse Hispanic and Latino community that contributes greatly to social, cultural, economic, and political strength of the community. And whereas Hispanic and Latino citizens represent leaders in politics, business, education, the arts, entertainment, the military, science, technology, athletics, medicine, and law, and are critical to building a stronger nation for future generations. Whereas we commemorate the essential contributions, sacrifices, and accomplishments that Hispanic and Latino Americans have made to the United States throughout our nation's history. And whereas as we build a community that is open and welcoming to all, a special celebration has been planned to be held at the Riverloop Amphitheater on July 8th, 9th, and 10th, 2021. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Quentin Hart, do hereby proclaim July 10th, 2021 as Latino Heritage Day and encourage all Cedar Valley citizens to participate in Fiesta, a celebration of Latino culture at the Riverloop Amphitheater. So, big day plan. Can we have some comments? Can you introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Nilvia Reyes Rodriguez. This is Sofia Brownson Reyes, my daughter. I kind of wanted to give an announcement a little bit in Spanish, and then maybe Ken can talk about it in English. Va a haber una celebración aquí en la ciudad de Waterloo. El jueves, el viernes y el sábado vamos a tener una banda el jueves y también el sábado. Y luego el viernes va a haber una película que va a ser en español, Selena. Invitamos a familias y a todos que quieran venir. La celebración va a incluir actividades para la familia entera los 3 días. Entonces todos están invitados.
Great. In English, although my Spanish isn't so good, so I'm not really translating what she said. I'm looking at my notes here. We invite the whole community to come out for a great time celebrating Latino culture, July 8th through the 10th. Everything starts off on Thursday, the 8th, this Thursday, with our regular Waterloo Municipal Band concert at 7:30 p.m. As a special part of that concert, they will be doing a piece by a Latino composer, and we'll have some dancers demonstrating traditional dance. On Friday evening, the 9th, we'll start the evening off with food. We'll have El Camino Taco Truck there. I recommend the tacos al pastor, so that everything's good. At 7, always a favorite for the kids, the piñata. We'll have some Zumba dance, and at dusk, we will be presenting the movie Selena in Spanish with English subtitles. And then Saturday night is a big party at the amphitheater. We'll start off with a mariachi band. There will also be a soccer demonstration, boxing demos, and our headliner for the evening will be Tropicante. There'll also be food, ice cream, and craft activities, displays, just all kinds of fun for the family. So this year, it's grown to 3 days. So invite you all to come out and celebrate Latino culture.
Thank you so much, Nilvia, who is really involved in our community as well. We thank you for your efforts, Kent, and everyone else that helped to organize July 8th, 9th, and 10th. We hope the community can get an opportunity to come out and support and celebrate Latino Heritage Day. Diversity is what makes this community stand apart from so many others. So we want to thank you so much for all of your efforts, and I look forward to coming and participating this week.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And it is now time for, well, we have, believe, a video for a swearing-in ceremony. So we're ready. All right, well, good morning. Very special opportunity, great opportunity, swearing in some of our finest this morning. And I'll turn it over to Chief Fitzgerald.
Well, I must say, each one of our applicants has met the rigorous height standard of the Waterloo Police Department. This is one of the rare times where people of my height are above. So congratulations. Congratulations on also meeting the standards of the organization as a whole. The only other hurdle we have is obviously going through to the police academy and finishing that. And as I've explained, and I do explain to each one of our new hires, each class sets a standard even higher for the last. That means you get on and become a Waterloo police officer and do your jobs and treat people with dignity and respect, but also while you're at the academy, you know, you set the standard for other people around the state. I talked to each one of you, and we've talked about representing the Waterloo Police Department well, and I'm really happy to say that I think everyone here will be, well, we got 4 people here, so you should all tie for #1 in the academy. But realistically, everyone that becomes a Waterloo police officer is charged with the responsibility of taking care of and maintaining the public harmony here in the city of Waterloo, but moreover, treating everyone with decency and respect. And I believe each one of these individuals has what it takes to become not only a police officer here for the city of Waterloo, but to become an even larger part of our community. And everybody here has indicated their willingness to become more of a part of our community in Waterloo, and that's something to be very proud of, Mayor. That's something for our department members here to be very proud of as well, because they want to be a part of the organization here and want to work alongside each and every one of you. So thank you to your family members that are here, and I'll give you an opportunity to speak and introduce yourselves to the citizens out here, the city council who'll see this as well. And you know, maybe if you want to thank some of your family members for being here or whoever put you in this position, you do so. So we'll go left to right.
Jacob Zars, grew up in Waterloo, Cedar Falls area, but I currently live in Waverly. I want to thank my wife, who's not here today, but she pushed this pretty hard, and it's been a long road. 3rd time's the charm. So.
Connor Weber, I grew up in Waterloo. I just want to thank my fiance Haley. She kind of pushed me through going into law enforcement. I just want to thank her a lot.
I'm Zach Costello. I'm from Northwood, Iowa. Been living in Ames for the last 8 years. I really want to thank my parents for being here, and my dad giving me all the workout routines to get prepared for this job.
Mike Lyons, I'm from Wheaton, Illinois. I just want to thank my girlfriend for taking the time and having the patience with me through all of these interviews and application processes.
That's awesome. Your support networks mean a lot in this job. Trust me, when you come home to people that are happy and people that support you for what you do, not only for what you do for a living, but how you serve the community, it's makes it a little easier. So, again, being away from your family is tough, but having support is something you should all be thankful for. Mayor?
All right, it is time for us to do the oath of office. So I'll start out by saying I, you repeat after me, and then I'll say state your name. Then you individually say your names at the same time, and then continue to repeat after me after that point. So if you would please raise your right hands. I state your name. Do solemnly swear I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and I will faithfully and impartially, to the best of my ability, discharge all the duties of the position of police officer in the city of Waterloo, Black Hawk County, Iowa, as now or hereafter, required by law. Congratulations, gentlemen. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. What school did you go to?
Well, it's really cool, Mayor, to have Waterloo residents be a part of the police department. It's also as cool to have folks that are from outside of Waterloo target the city as a place not only that they'd like to serve, but a place where they'd like to relocate. So you should know that each one of these guys have indicated that they liked the fact that they could be here in this city and they could serve the city. So what I'll do for purposes of your friends and family is ask each one of you to step up. We can go left to right again, and I'll present you your badge.
All right. Thank you. Is that going to switch back? All right. It is now time for oral presentations. It's your opportunity to address the mayor and city council, department heads on issues that you want to speak to us about. But first up, we do have 3 different comments from citizens that they want read during oral presentations time.
Okay. First one is from Jody Fitzpatrick of 1115 Kern Street. She writes, last night's fireworks from my neighbor caused a grass fire. Please reconsider the ordinance for the future. And these next 2 have some pictures that go along with them, so I'll pass those around to council once I get done. Second one is Carrie Lewis, 1207 Edgewood Drive. I'm writing to express my concerns and disappointment in our city, specifically concerning the way that the city has decided to handle fireworks. I understand that people are tired of talking about it, and my complaints are the same as others who have voiced their concerns. But after yet another holiday filled with anxiety and being unable to enjoy my own home, I believe it needs to be addressed. To be clear, I support the sale of fireworks and in no way want to stop someone who has a business here in Waterloo from making a living. And I support people's choice to spend their money on whatever they choose to spend it on, including fireworks. What I disagree with is that we are allowing those fireworks to be shot off by people with no training or education on how to safely discharge a firework, and we are allowing them to do it in a residential neighborhood, increasing the potential for safety issues by 100%. Not everyone is physically or financially able to leave their home during the hours that we currently allow fireworks to be used in Waterloo, as some people have suggested we do. And to be honest, we should not have to leave our home so that someone else can enjoy an extracurricular activity. I would also ask that those same people, where would we go? There isn't anywhere that we could have gone this weekend where fireworks were not being used. Some neighborhoods are worse than others, and some neighborhoods only have a few people taking advantage of the city fireworks ordinance. And some of those people are ignoring the ordinance altogether and just doing whatever they want. I love my country, and my goal is not to take away someone's freedom to have fun, but I think we have our priorities wrong. Our city has struggled for decades with certain issues, and mental health is at the top of that list. We can no longer ignore the part of our population in our city that has been adversely affected by an activity that is not essential to surviving day to day. And some of our population in Waterloo is struggling. We see it on the news every day. People are acting out to get their voices heard because maybe they tried doing things the right way and no one listened. I'm using my voice today to speak up for those of us in Waterloo that dread this holiday each year. It shouldn't be this way. We shouldn't have to worry about being in our homes or yards and suddenly having what sounds like a bomb or gun go off next door. That has happened to me, and I can tell you it has a negative effect on me and my pets, and it's not right. What it is harassment. Sometimes I thought that we did not allow in our city. Beyond the noise issue, there's the issue of all the leftovers, what I call firework garbage. Only 3 hours of sleep because of fireworks. I spent at least 2 hours on my holiday picking up after my neighbors on Monday morning. I have a bucket full of trash that rained down on my yard, roof, and vehicles. There are ashes of multiple colors and textures all over my driveway and deck and vehicles. This does nothing to make our city beautiful, and in my opinion, it is city-sanctioned way of one neighbor to harass another neighbor. There is also nothing in the ordinance that holds those people accountable for this part of shooting off fireworks, and that at the very least, you as council need to address this issue before next year. Our police and fire departments and code enforcement work very hard to keep our city safe and clean, and it seems like this is making their job harder, both the enforcement of the ordinance and the aftermath that people are left to clean up. Also, something to note is the fact that our state is currently a moderate drought, and honestly, I believe that it is a very irresponsible decision to allow fireworks this year. In our situation, there is a property that runs behind the houses on our street and has grass over 2 feet tall in places. One misplaced firework, and that could easily catch fire. It's definitely a safety concern. City Council deciding to focus on people having the right to explode mini bombs several hundred yards excuse me, from where their neighbors are trying to sleep instead of focusing on safety and mental health of our residents seems irresponsible and thoughtless. And yes, I know that an actual bomb is much more destructive, but there are still explosives, and I'm not sure there is a better way to describe what I've experienced. Having said all that, I heard someone once say that if you're going to complain about an issue, you should at least come up with possible solutions to the problem. So while I was lying awake being accosted by extremely loud fireworks at midnight on Sunday night, I pondered some changes or options that I would like to propose. First on my list would be to not allow fireworks to be shot off within our city limits or in a residential neighborhood. 2, instead of a fine for shooting off fireworks when not allowed, give the offenders community service hours. That way the city can also get the benefit of an extra volunteer or 2. 3, look into purchasing or utilizing a property that the city already owns to make a fireworks range, similar to a gun range, only it would be a free use site where residents could come and safely shoot off fireworks till the cows come home. There could also be a large parking lot behind where the fireworks are being shot off so that people could come and watch if they wanted to. That way the people that want to participate in the festivities can enjoy the fireworks, and those that do not want to be part of it in any way can stay in their homes and go about their lives. You could make this a feature that only Waterloo offers. It could actually be a fun addition to our city. Obviously, there are most likely legal issues that would need to be addressed, but if you were to tell me that it is too dangerous and too much of a liability for the city to operate a fireworks range, I would respond by wondering what makes it less dangerous and less of a liability for it to happen right next to my home. I assume, like anywhere else these days, that you could post signage saying that the city is not liable for any injuries that occur at the site. Having said all that, I just want to say that I appreciate the opportunity to express my opinion and my concerns today. I hope that you as council remember what you have been asked to do. I hope that our city can start focusing on making our city a safe place for all our residents, no matter where you live. and that we all remember what a diverse community we live in. I want to live in a city that is accepting of all residents, not just a select few. Thank you.
What's her name?
Carrie Lewis, 1207 Edgewood Drive.
The pictures,
Yep, the pictures are included in that.
I'll pass it down and we'll pass it back.
And the last one comes from Charity Heidi. Good afternoon, all. I'm writing this to bring a voice from the disability community to the fireworks conversation. There are many in this community, myself included, that have disabilities that make experiencing fireworks displays extremely difficult. I have a medical condition that has affected my neurological response to sights, sounds, smells, etc. They are amplified and can quickly become painful and overwhelming for me. I also like to say that my start reflex is broken, meaning that I often have an exaggerated physical response to stimuli. Even if I try to anticipate and brace for it, my response is not one I can control. I also struggle with a chronic migraine. I'm sure that you can understand how this combination of symptoms can make fireworks difficult or almost unbearable for me. I'm quite sure that my experience is not unique. I'm also sure that others in the community have more extreme and unpleasant responses to fireworks than I do. Before the legalization of consumer fireworks in town, it was easy enough to simply choose to not attend fireworks demonstrations. Yes, they could still often be heard throughout town, but the impact was generally minimal and time-bound. In the years since consumer use of fireworks were allowed, people like me no longer have the option of opting out to limit our exposure. Our peace, comfort, and health are now placed in the hands of our neighbors. It seems these neighbors, and our community at large, based on our fireworks laws, value the ability to have fun and express their freedoms over the well-being of everyone in the community. Even if you do not have a disability that heightens the discomfort of fireworks personally for you, I'd be willing to bet that you were impacted in some way by fireworks over the weekend, even if you did not choose to be. Your neighborhood sounded like war zones. Your pets were in hiding. You probably swept up fireworks dust from your porches and decks and picked up fireworks trash in your yard. Maybe you even sustained damage to personal property like our household did. I understand that enforcement is an issue since the legal sale of consumer fireworks cannot be prevented. I applaud the efforts of council has made so far in a partnership with the WPD and look forward to that continuing. However, despite knowing we still have work to do there, I'm urging council to reconsider the legality of consumer use of fireworks in this community. The rights of some shouldn't have come at the expense of all. My hope is that the council will consider all of their constituents, who is being heard and who isn't, who is being helped and who is being harmed. And there are pictures included with this that I can pass around to council. That's it.
Great, thank you. Like I said, this is oral presentation time. It's your opportunity to address the city council on non-agenda related items. So if you would please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and please let us know what your thoughts are.
Forrest Dillaboo, 1725 Huntington Road. 2 weeks ago in the Sunday paper, there was an article involving a shooting and death in the city of Waterloo. One of our youth had shot and killed another of what I consider our youth. They were found guilty. How bad for Waterloo? How bad for the families, friends, and associates of these two people? This has been a family feud. This is not the first killing of each other. It happened prior, the other way. And then on the radio, I heard about an officer who was on a street trying to give life-saving support to a person who had been shot, laying on the ground while people over him were cussing him and swearing at him while he is concerned about the traffic in the street where he is. And that also struck a great blow to the city of Waterloo and the citizens of Waterloo. Terrible, horrible. You know, and a month or so ago, the city of Waterloo had a little parade. An officer was overzealous, whatever he was, whether he was a murderer or what. He did not plan to kill the person he killed. And we here in Waterloo had a parade. Some of our city employees decided that would be a good thing to attend. I think horrible. It was horrible for the families of both of those folks. It was horrible for their families in law enforcement. It was horrible for everybody. You know, we have got to be more careful. We have got to protect everybody, not just a few, and our outward actions spell out what we are and what we stand for. I feel for all of these people, whether they were guilty or not guilty, just as the young man who killed another young man here in Waterloo. He has family, friends, and probably some of you who thought well of him, even though he made the wrong decision and did the wrong thing. I think we can do better, Waterloo, and I think we need to start today. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the city council and mayor and staff? Right, council.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
someone put this in my mailbox downstairs. Apparently it is debris from fireworks. I did receive a lot of phone calls and I received a lot of emails, and one of the questions was, and I think we're going to hear a little later, how many tickets were written, whether damage reports have come in, what the status was of the 4th of July weekend, and I'm very interested in hearing that information. I've also heard from some families with autistic children, and they said too, they sort of mimicked what that lady said in how do we escape it. They love the idea that the city puts on fireworks, and they applaud everyone's right to go to those things, but they do object to having it inflicted on their own households when they struggle so hard with their children. So that's all I have to say. I'm very interested in what we hear in a report.
And I have contacted both the police department and the fire department, and both of those departments said they're going to share with us tonight, kind of might be preliminary since it just ended yesterday, but whatever facts and figures you have on calls, citations, whatever. So Chief Fitzgerald, or you two figure out who's going to go first.
Like you're at the front of the classroom and say, take one and pass it down. Dr. Joel Fitzgerald, Chief of Police. We, as a police department, are in a very unique position, obviously, to have to answer calls for service in addition to responding to fireworks calls. Well, this year, as opposed to last year, I believe last year we wrote all of one citation for fireworks violations. This year, we handled 300 calls. We issued 28 citations with 2 citations pending. Those citations are only pending because we had some difficulty identifying someone. We have identified that person and we'll still be issuing citations. And the packet that you have has a summary of the calls broken down by day to the best of our ability. This is what we've gathered, as was explained by Ms. Juon just a second ago. But it also, I had them add NPO worksheets to show you or give you some sampling of some of the responses and some of the calls in addition to fireworks calls that some of the guys responded to while working over the past few days. I think it gives you a pretty good summary of the emphasis that we placed upon attempting to curb some of the fireworks violations, but I can tell you as someone that worked the street, the 3rd into the 4th, that the officers were inundated with calls, and there were fireworks going off in every particular direction within the city, so it's very difficult to, again, hit every single location that someone has set off fireworks and then prove to an extent necessary to be able to cite a person for violating the ordinance when no one is there or debris may be in the street as opposed to being in front of someone's home or on someone's property. So overall, I think it's a step in the right direction. I understand that it's always going to be an enforcement issue, but I think we've dedicated resources to it this year and have, just given the fact that we have 30 as compared to 1 citations that were issued, those citations are upwards of $500. And as you read, the citations were issued throughout the city, not in just one section of the city. That is the best I can do in summarizing what we did over the last at least 3 or 4 days. Over the last month, I've already addressed at previous council meetings that we've had Lieutenant Corbin Payne working with the fireworks vendor, pushing out information about the ordinance and what's legal and what's not. So we did get the cooperation of fireworks vendors, and that translated into what I believe, or at least some of what I've gotten from some citizens, is not as bad as it was in previous years. That is the feedback that I received personally from some citizens. You all have been here much longer than me, so you have a longer history with the city and with fireworks violations, but I believe we took a step in the right direction. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I could.
Yeah, and then
Yes,
we'll
sir.
have fire make a presentation.
Oh, should I just wait?
Yeah, let's wait.
Okay.
Brock Welliver, Waterloo Fire Rescue, Fire Marshal. From the information that was provided to me, Waterloo Fire Rescue responded to 18 calls associated with fireworks. 5 of those were found to be small grass fires, which were easily extinguished by simply stepping on them with the foot and putting them out. 1 was a vehicle fire unrelated to fireworks, however, there were fireworks in the vehicle, so it kind of got tied that way. And those are the preliminary numbers we have for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Mr. Morrissey,
Yeah, Chief and
Fire Marshal.
Fire Marshal Oliver. First of all, were there any kinds of complaints about where people were using them, like on public spaces such as sidewalks, streets, or public parking lots, or right-of-ways? Because that's part of our ordinance, that they're not to be used on those places within the city.
I can give you somewhat of an answer to that. I know that 2 of the citations that were actually issued at 2nd and Mulberry, which is adjacent to the fire station, and out in a lot, a public lot at that area. So without having a breakdown of each and every call, I wouldn't be able to tell you how many at this time occurred on public right-of-ways as opposed to private areas, but we can get that breakdown, and I will certainly get it for you.
And the reason why I bring that up, Chief, Mr. Mayor, and Fire Marshal, is that I got a few calls, not that many, but the ones that I did get, they were telling me where they were setting them off, and I said, well, those are not legal places to set them off, and they did not know that. So that's something that I would hope the public awareness could be a little bit enhanced by sending out some more education materials about where they're not allowed. I know that I personally have felt that the fireworks being set off this year are less than they were last year. And to me, they seemed, except for maybe some of those huge explosions that, literally knock you out of your bed, they were respectful of the 1 to 3 o'clock a.m. thing, although there were some exceptions to that. And the other question I have is, were there any tents or pods that were set up in non-industrial areas in the city of Waterloo?
I can't answer that. I'll pass it over to the fire marshal if he's able to.
The state inspectors are responsible for inspecting those, and I cannot answer whether or not any of those were set up in outside of the industrial areas.
Would Noel, Mr. Mayor, know that, or Jamie, or somebody? Okay. Okay. Okay, well, again, what I have been telling, Mr. Mayor, thank you. What I've been just telling people when they call me is that the issue, because I've heard from Cedar Falls, people in Cedar Falls as well, that even though they got a band there, from Friday through last night was equally as loud, even with that band. So I've been telling people you need to go, you want something done to allow the localities and municipalities to have more voice in it. Talk to your legislature to allow the cities to have a bigger say in what they can and can't do, because right now our hands are tied as far as the sales within the city. Thank you.
What's the calls from last year and the year before? Anybody remember, or a guesstimate of those numbers?
600 some.
Yeah, I'd hate to guess it,
double the amount.
Like 600.
yeah, I remember providing it to you in particular.
So it's down considerably then, huh?
Yeah,
Well,
you know,
well, but Mr. Mayor, that I don't. What is going to happen from July 6th forward? Because we've got people who have bought plenty of fireworks that may want to explode them going forward. So there still is going to be enforcement moving forward, isn't there, Chief?
Absolutely, and I can tell you from firsthand. I mean, I was out there, I was working, and there were several locations within the city where they were in areas where you could not determine who set the fireworks off. I mean, in the center of an intersection, and no neighbors came out to, we removed the debris, but no neighbors came out to say whether or not someone had set it off or not. So there were numerous instances like that, in addition to a heavy call volume outside of just fireworks over the time that I was out there. So, officers are going to cite, they are going to write it. They have been told that they need to enforce it. And in addition to that, I'll give you an example. The one example that I already used adjacent to the fire station was, those people were cited, I believe, 11:06 or 11:07. So we were out there immediately and enforcing it when the time was right for us to go out and do so. I think with more education, as you said, Mr. Morrissey, over the next year leading into next 4th of July, that there might be another decline. But we will be out there and vigilant about enforcing it from this point forward as well, because we know it's outside of the parameters of legality.
Mr. Mayor?
you started out, and then Mr.
Yeah, let me just finish that. Appreciate the presentation and appreciate the information. Very interesting. I would be interested in seeing, if we can, what the comparison to last year was, to see if we've made some progress with the changes that we made. And like Mr. Morrissey, I did not get a lot of calls. I think I got 1 call and 3 emails this year. So, and I know others have gotten more, but I'd like to see if we've made some progress with the changes that we made. So
Yes, ma'am.
thank you to both of you.
So service calls, maybe the last 2 to 3 years, and then also the number of citations that have been issued. But before we go to Mr. Boesen, there's, speaking with the one family and having people shoot fireworks off of their house. How can we, do we say that you can only shoot fireworks off the ground? But because shooting them off the house is an incredible hazard. And if you're located right next to someone's house, these folks showed us pictures of someone burning a table on their deck, and debris is, it's common sense not to shoot fireworks off your house, but I mean, for us to have to enforce and tell people that, I mean, is kind of ridiculous, but I don't know what we can do in the future, but that is absolutely the wrong thing to be doing, and it's putting additional burden on people. Mr. Boesen.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do have some photos of people shooting them off in the middle of the street because people sent them to me in the 3100 block of Tulip, and they were extremely large fireworks going off. But I do have to admit that with the enforcement plan that the chief put together and his staff, and I lived in a very troubled fireworks neighborhood. They would blast them off from the day they went on sale until long after they went off sale. And I can tell you with a surety that I had no fireworks going off until this weekend. So the threat of enforcement, the fact that the fireworks vendors were putting out the pamphlets that the PD had worked with them on, that also did clearly state you can't shoot them off. You have to shoot them off from your property, not public property, not public right of way. But I do believe that the number of citations written is incredible compared to years past. But the threat of enforcement in my neighborhood, I had no issues until the weekend, which is outstanding. I couldn't believe it. So thank you for all you've done.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? All right. Anything else, council? So we
Mr.
move
Mayor.
on. Mr. Feuss.
I just wanted to state in 3 weeks from tomorrow we have an amazing event coming to our town with Ragbri, and Tavis Hall at Experience Waterloo is trying to prepare not only our citizens but our businesses as well. And they're on this Friday. There's going to be a town hall Zoom starting at 3 o'clock for local businesses, and then the community and some general information at 4 o'clock, just discussing what's going to be happening, street closures, and some of the details. So please jump on either experiencewaterloo.com or on their Facebook page to get that Zoom information. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Morrissey.
Yeah, three things. First of all, I've driven by Highway 63 several times, and I've noticed that the recreation trail between Parker and Conger was started, but I have no idea why it stopped. I don't see any work getting done there, and I know that I had brought this up a couple times in the past and was hoping that trail would get completed by Ragbri. I don't know if that's possible now, but I'm just wondering why the work on that has stopped, and when is that going to resume, and when is a projected date for finishing. The second thing I just wanted to bring up was a shout out to Marty Peterson and Attorney Bowler. As far as their, in my mind, winning the Supreme Court decision for the Fair Chance Initiative. Waterloo needs to, I think, be very proud of standing up and saying this is something that needs to take place. It did take place. We got it done. Granted, there was some, language that was stripped from it, but still the guts are there. So congratulations to you, Marty Peterson, to Waterloo, to Mayor Hart, to Attorney Bowler, and also to Abraham Funches for taking the lead in that. And then I would like to add to that is that now it's time for the racial equity and social justice toolkit to move forward and be passed in the next couple of months, Mr. Mayor. And then the final thing that I want to bring up is something that I have asked for, and I'm sure that the sidewalk surveys have been done, and I still would like to get, if possible, the numbers of those squares that were just sunken or unlevel out of the total number that need to be taken care of or repaired, Mr. Mayor.
All right,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Recreational trail, and I think Jamie is going to count those squares for you too.
I'll be out for a long time doing that. Jamie Knutson, city engineer. The recreational trail along 63, there was an issue with the placement of the retaining wall along there. It was an issue between the consultant and the contractor. It got put in the wrong spot. That's being worked through. It's got to be removed and actually moved closer to the homes, but that is being worked through. There's no cost to the city on that one. But as soon as that gets rectified, the contractor will be back to continue with that work. But that's why it has stopped. So there was an issue with that being built in the wrong spot. As far as the sidewalk, I cannot give you specific panel counts because those sunken panels are lumped in with 2 other criteria. So I have no way of knowing, at least at this point in time, the specific number of panels that were sunken versus the ones that were broken. There's just no way to separate that out right now.
Well, could I just add something, Mr. Mayor? Okay, and that, I received copies of what the assessments that were done last year and what needed to be repaired, and it has a coating on there.
Correct.
And one of those, or 2 of those coatings deal with unlevel, or not level, or sunken. And I was able to discern by looking at it, because they marked them appropriately, which ones. And if you didn't want to do it, I'd be more than willing to spend 2 or 3 afternoons looking through all those, Jamie.
It's not that, Mr. Morrissey. Level is something different than sunken. Level has to do with the cross slope on the sidewalk and which way it tips and things like that. So again, those things, I don't believe you can separate them out. I'll talk to my staff tomorrow, but I don't think those things can be separated out the way you want them to be separated out currently, the way we investigate them and mark them up.
Well, would you let me know then, please?
I will do that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks, Jamie.
Mr. Mayor. Yes, so just piggybacking off Mr. Feuss's point, I know that RAGBRAI doesn't happen on its own, and I know that Experience Waterloo and others are looking for volunteers, so you can sign up on their website for that. I signed up for a shift to help out, and I hope lots of other people do, because I know it's been kind of a struggle this year as we've gotten post-COVID, so please help out when you can, not just with RAGBRAI, but with all of the great events happening in our town. Thank you.
Bye.
I too would like to thank the Supreme Court for weighing in on Ban the Box. I always supported Ban the Box in its original form, which was to remove it from the application. Where I got bogged down was the added parts to that project. And thankfully, the Supreme Court saw it my way and came around.
Okay, then. You didn't support Ben. Okay, who's next?
I was just going to add on to what Mr. Morrissey said, that I'm so glad the Supreme Court did rule in the favor. There is one minor change, but I just talked to Lauren Mork. Lauren was instrumental in us educating all the businesses in town when we first passed that. And so I want to thank her publicly for that. But she's now agreed to help us have whether a video or some sort of training program for the businesses in town to let them know. Contrary to what Mrs. Klein said, the Supreme Court did not agree with all of her objections. There is just one very small portion that they oversaw. And as it turns out, as Lauren pointed out, even though the Supreme Court ruled against us on this one very minor part, the federal law still supports it. So Lauren will train us on that, and we thank her for her help. But again, thanks to the Supreme Court.
And also thanks to the council members that stood up for it. Not everybody stood up for it, just to be completely honest. But one thing, I know that there were disagreements on how to get that done, whether it was the educational component, whether it was the original language, but folks did come together and made it happen. So council, thank you so much for your support and your efforts, and Marty and Bowler and the strategy as well. But it's going to come up again, I would assume, in the next year. So thank you so much for your diligence.
Okay. Motion to close public comments, receive comments, and place on file.
Second.
A motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public comments closed.
Okay, motion to approve the consent agenda with the additions of adding to 1A1 the bill payments for, the first one is for June 28th, 2021, in the amount of $2,597,196.15. And bill payment for July 6, 2021, in the amount of $4,878,153.61. Move to receive, approve, and place on file.
Second.
The motion has been made with the second. Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Morrissey?
I'd like to remove number 5,
All right.
A5.
All right. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
Sorry.
Boesen?
A4.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
And Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Boesen?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to adopt a resolution approving award of bid to Young Plumbing and Heating Company of Waterloo, Iowa, in the amount of $164,000 in conjunction with the Waterloo City Hall chiller replacement project.
Second. The motion has been made with the second. Mr. Boesen?
Could Noel give us an overview on this?
Noel Anderson, Community Planning Development Director. Our existing chiller for this building is over 25 years old. We're actually quite happy that it's this cool in here. It's had some major repairs. We kind of hooked it back together and are getting by. So this is the, we did bid out the new chiller. The low bid was to Young Plumbing and Heating at $164,000. So that is what we were recommending to move ahead with.
Okay, my question, sir, is this didn't go through the public hearing process?
The bidding process, we went ahead with, I guess, like an emergency bid process because we were not certain that the existing one would go ahead. So we did seek bids from multiple bidders and got 2.
Okay, and that was my question because it went under the emergency process, so it bypassed the public hearings and the other portions of the bid process. But I consider emergency getting the air conditioner back up and running. But this is a chiller replacement, and we're not even getting the parts until September, October. So, and I'm just curious on throughout the year we use this verbiage that it's an emergency appropriation, and it bypasses council. And I'm just curious if we have a data of that you could maybe send me what should have come before council, but because it was an emergency at the time, it bypassed the normal procedures.
Sure, I can send you some additional
I appreciate
data.
it, sir. Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Mr. Morrissey?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion adopting a resolution approving an award of bid to Wirtz Uniforms of Cedar Falls, Iowa, in conjunction with fiscal year ending 2022 Police Department uniform needs and authorizing the city clerk to execute said document.
Second. Motion's been made with the second. Mr. Morrissey?
Mr. Mayor, this is just for informational purposes, I guess, but it would have a bearing on it. And my question is, Mr. Mayor, do the uniforms that are going to be purchased with this award, will they have any type of patch? For sure, they should not have the Griffin on it, but will they have the new patch? Or will they just be devoid?
They will have the new patch, sir.
They will. Okay, thank you. That's
Yes,
all.
sir.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
No.
Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes. All right, thank you. We have 2 people with us today. Taylor Mork, would you please stand up? And Matt Boquist. You can kind of slide one way or the other. Do the two-step. They're doing the two-step. But definitely want to thank you so much for joining the team. Taylor is taking over the golf maintenance 2 position, and Matt Boyquist is taking over the street department director as well. He's been in an interim capacity also, but we want to thank you guys for joining the family, and we look forward to a long, prosperous relationship. So thank you both. All right, thank you. Could someone take number 2? Mr. Morrissey.
I'd like to make a motion. Like to make a motion to receive, file, approve publication, notice of public hearing on the fiscal year 2022 asphalt emulsions for the city's recycled asphalt paving program.
Second. That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now open. Is there anyone that would like to speak to this particular item on the agenda in the public? Going a second time.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing.
Second. That motion's been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing closed.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion adopting a resolution confirming approval of specifications, bid document, and form of contract, et cetera, and authorizing to proceed.
Second. The motion has been made with the second. Council. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
And Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to receive, file, and consider, file, and instruct the city clerk to read bids.
Second. The motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Madam Clerk.
All right, our estimate was $215,000. Our first bidder was Bituminous Materials and Supply of Des Moines, Iowa. And this bid is structured by product, quantity, and unit price. So bear with me. For product HFMS-2S, 1,760 gallons, $2 a gallon. Unit price $3,520. Product CRS-2P, 940 gallons, $2.50 for the unit price. $2,350 for the unit price. Dilute CSS-1, 236 gallons, $1.10. Unit price of $259.60. And then HFMS-2S, 5,000 gallons, unit price of $2 for a total of $10,000. CRS-2P, 50,000 gallons, $2.50 for the unit price, a total of $125,000. Dilute CSS-1, 15,000 gallons, $1.10 for a total of $16,500. Second bidder was Flint Hills Resources of Dubuque, Iowa, for HFMS-2S, quantity of 1,760 gallons, unit price of $2.53 for a total of $607.20. For CRS-2P, 940 gallons, unit price of $3.03 for a total of $712.05. For Dilute CSS-1, 236 gallons, no bid on the unit price, no bid on a total. For Dilute CSS-1, or excuse me, I just did that. For HFMS-2S, quantity of 5,000 gallons, unit price of $2.53 for a total of $607.20. For CRS-2P, quantity of 50,000 gallons, unit price of $3.03 for a total of $712.05. For Dilute CSS-1, 15,000 gallons, unit price of $2.53 for a total of $594.55. That was fun. That was really fun to read.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Did you understand all that, Randy? Good.
That's what we pay him
That's a
for.
good thing.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion adopting a resolution awarding the bid to Bituminous Materials and Supply of Des Moines, Iowa, in the amount of Minimum quantity, $6,129.60. Maximum quantity, $151,500, in conjunction with the fiscal year 2022 asphalt emulsions for the city's recycled asphalt paving program, and authorizing the mayor to execute said documents.
Second. The motion has been made with the second. Council, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
And Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Number 3, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Amos.
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file proof of publication of notice of public hearing, and that is for fiscal year 2021 CIP pipelining phase IVA2 project contract number 1043.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the public hearing is open. Is there anyone that would have some questions or concerns about this item? Going a second time.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
Motion's been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is now closed.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion adopting a resolution confirming approval of plan specifications, form of contract, et cetera, and authorizing to proceed.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Council questions? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
And Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Would you like to have Kelly read this for you?
Please.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to receive and file and instruct city clerk to read bids and refer bids to Waste Management Services Department for review.
That's been
No.
next.
No.
No.
Just read bids.
Just read bid.
Yep.
All right.
That works.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
All right. You'll have to bear with me on this one, too. Sorry. The estimate was $1,080,682.50. Our first bidder was Institute for Technologies USA, LLC of Chesterfield, Missouri. Total base bid was $1,069,120.90. Alternate one, 94.
Can we just read the base bid? Because that's basically what we're going to award, right? Is it the base bid culmination, or is it divided into 5 different alternates? You doing
doing all the
individual
alternates.
alternates as well? All right.
Continue.
All right. See how good I can read numbers.
Have to read all this.
Okay. Alternate one, $94,860.90. Alternate two, $91,819.20. Alternate three, $111,522.50. Alternate four, $39,132.40. Alternate five, $19,435.70. Our second bidder was AK Construction of O'Fallon, Missouri. Their total base bid was $943,483. Alternate one, $87,213.25. Alternate two, $88,584. Alternate three, $100,282. Number four, $37,544. Number five, $17,577. Our final bidder was Municipal Pipe and Tool Company, LLC of Hudson, Iowa. Their base bid was $803,304.95. Alternate one, $74,630.30. Alternate two, $93,624. Alternate three, $99,008.60. Alternate four, $40,251.50. And the final alternate, number five, $17,220.
All right, thank you.
And then we do have that resolution that we amended to add in, and I can, if you guys want to make a motion in second, I can read it.
I didn't write that down, Kelly, so.
Do you want to make a motion in second, and then I can read the resolution for you?
I make a motion for the resolution. Kelly, if you would please read
All
it.
right. It is, okay. It is resolution approving award of bid to Municipal Pipe and Tool Company, LLC of Hudson, Iowa for the base bid SA 19 SRF $803,304.95. Alternate number one, SA 19 SRF $74,630.30. Alternate two, SA 19 SRF $93,624. Alternate three, SA 14 non-SRF $99,008.60. Alternate four, SA 20 non-SRF $40,251.50. And alternate number 5, SA 17, non-SRF, $17,220 for a total cost of $1,128,039.35. And approving the contract bond and certificate of insurance in conjunction with the FY 2021 SIP pipelining phase IVA2 project contract number 1043.
Second.
All right. Well, we've already made a motion and a second for the base bid with the variation of alternates. So, questions, Madam Clerk?
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
And Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
All right. Could someone take 4 through 7?
Mr. Mayor,
Mrs. Klein?
number 4 is a resolution approving an encroachment agreement with Misty Southworth to allow for a 6-foot-high fence at 114 Berkshire Road to be constructed 10 feet onto the city right-of-way of Russell Road, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said document. Number 5 is a resolution approving a video wall procurement agreement with Radio Communications RC Systems of Waterloo, Iowa, in conjunction with the Traffic Control Room Project, Iowa DOT Grant Project number STP-U-8155, parenthesis 755-70-07, in the amount of $82,596.52, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said document. Number 6 is a resolution approving an engineering service agreement with Shive Hattery Inc. of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, in conjunction with West 9th and South Street intersection roundabout project, and authorizing the mayor to execute said document. And finally, number 7 is a resolution approving a permanent easement agreement with Kolker Properties LLC to dedicate a permanent easement over a portion of property located at 3180 West Airline Highway for sanitary sewer and utility purposes, and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said document.
Second.
The motion has been made with the second. Is there anyone that would like to speak to these items?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Council, Mrs. Juon?
I just had a question out of curiosity on number 4, why Ms. Southworth wanted to extend her fence by 10 feet and why we thought that was appropriate.
Noel Anderson, Community Planning Development Director. The lot at 114 Berkshire Road is a double frontage lot. The Russell Road right-of-way is 100 feet wide, which is a little unusual for a residential street. So her fence will still be 15 feet from the curb line. So she was just looking to have a larger yard, essentially, back there since
So
the
we're granting
street.
her a larger yard because the right-of-way is larger than normal?
That was what the request was, and the Planning Commission recommended approval.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Morrissey?
Noel, could you explain what number 7 will do for that area and what it will do for city and economic development?
Sure. So along West Airline Highway, of course, that was originally a highway portion, and so it has an extremely large right-of-way there. So the city has been looking at our development lots along that corridor and vacating additional land in the front to put it into private property use, get additional taxes, get additional buildable area on there for businesses. The easement that we're putting on there, when we vacated it, we were originally looking at a 25-foot easement. Then we started to look back at the additional space we might need for other utilities, so we went to 30-foot easement, so we're moving ahead with putting the easement back along there. But this is just one of several properties that we're vacating as we go and develop the lots.
Thank you.
All right. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
And Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Could someone take 8, 9, and 10 together?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Grieder?
make the motion to approve the following resolutions. 8 is a resolution approving the acquisition contract with Lost Island Real Estate LLC to acquire 7,281 square feet of right-of-way and approving a temporary easement of 38,180 square feet for Hess Road and East Shawless Road for $2,094.98, and up to $2,000 in closing costs located on property south of 4550 Hess Road, east of 2225 East Shawless Road, 5049 Hess Road, 2546 East Shawless Road, and east of 2546 East Shawless Road, in conjunction with the Shawless Road reconstruction project from Hess Road to Highway 218, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute said document. Resolution 9 is a resolution approving acquisition contract with Lost Island Theme Park, Inc. to acquire 2,270 square feet of right-of-way and approving a temporary easement for 63,338 square feet for East Shawless Road for $1,118.49 and up to $1,000 in closing costs located at 2600 East Shawless Road in conjunction with the Shawless Road reconstruction project from Hess Road to Highway 218 and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said document. And Resolution 10 is a resolution approving an acquisition contract with Lost Island Water Park, Inc. to acquire 9,656 square feet of right-of-way and approving a temporary easement on 12,715 square feet for the intersection of Hess Road and East Shawless Road for $4,152.45 and up to $1,000 in closing costs located at 2225 East Shawless Road in conjunction with the Shawless Road reconstruction project from Hess Road to Highway 218 and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute said documents.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Any questions about these items or council? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
And Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
All right, thank you. 12, 13, and 14.
Mr. Mayor?
Mrs. Juon.
Resolution number 12 is a resolution supporting the application by 6Com Properties LLC for the Iowa Workforce Housing Tax Incentives Program to construct 76 new housing units located near the northeast corner of 6th Street and Commercial Street. Number 13, resolution supporting the application by Prairie Rapids LLC for the Iowa Workforce Housing Tax Credit Program to construct 48 new housing units located near the southeast corner of Kimball Avenue and Ridgeway Avenue. And number 14, resolution approving a post-bid general contractor quality assurance questionnaire policy for vertical infrastructure projects.
Second. The motion has been made with the second. Council? Mr. Morrissey?
Yeah, I just wanted to commend Councilman Amos and the people that have been involved with number 14 for bringing this forward. I think it's a great step, and I look forward to voting yes on it.
Council? Madam Clerk?
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes on 12 and 13, no on 14.
Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
And Mr. Amos?
Yes.
All right, thank you. 15.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to receive, file, and consider and pass for the first time an ordinance amending the City of Waterloo Code of Ordinances by repealing Section 3 After Hours Business License of Chapter 3, Amusements, Title 3, Business and License Regulations, and enacting in lieu thereof a new Section 3 After Hours Business License of Chapter 3, Amusements, Title 3, Business and License Regulations.
Second.
That motion has been made with the second. Council, questions? Madam Clerk?
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
And Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion's been made with the second. I'm pretty sure we want to hurry up and get this done as soon as possible, right? All right, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
And Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion, consider and pass for the second and third times and adopt said ordinance.
Second.
The motion has been made with the second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
And Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Number 16, please.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Feuss.
I'd like to make a motion to receive, file, consider, and pass for the first time an ordinance amending the City of Waterloo City Code of Ordinances by repealing subsections E, F, and G of Section 4, Automated Traffic Enforcement, Chapter 1, Traffic Code, Title 6, motor vehicles and traffic and enacting in lieu thereof new subsections E, F, and G of Section 4 Automated Traffic Enforcement, Chapter 1 Traffic Code, Title 6 Motor Vehicles and Traffic.
Second. The motion has been made with the second. Council? Madam Clerk?
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
And Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Motion's been made with the second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
And Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to receive, file, consider, and pass for the second and third times and adopt said ordinance.
Second.
Motion's been made with the second. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Amos?
Yes.
Mr. Morrissey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Feuss?
Yes.
Mr. Grieder?
Yes.
Mrs. Juon?
Yes.
Mr. Boesen?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.